not. And streaming
Oh my
online
gosh, and it goes live
ASMR
right away.
You are listening to The Squeeze with Anthony Pasquazi, produced by Alec Root on KSMR Radio, broadcasting live on 92.5 FM on campus and 94.3 FM in Winona, Minnesota, as well as online at smumn.edu/KSMR. KSMR, real college radio, as Alec is fiddling around with his microphone.
Gotta get it set up.
He touched it and it fell off its little bearing there. But we are back. This is December 2nd, 2018. There's half a foot of snow on the ground. It's a nightmare driving out there, but cozy on up to that radio and or that laptop and listen to the smooth sounds of Alec and Anthony on The Squeeze at KSMR Radio, as Alec's microphone is still having a bit of trouble. So we're having a few technical difficulties already today. Neither of the computer monitors in front of me that I typically looking stuff up on are working today. So we're doing a few makeshift things, and we're going to see how we get along. But I think we're okay. I think we got it. Both excited to be back. The 16-second squeeze. Now, this is the way that you win a T-shirt. I advertise it on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. We want to give somebody a free T-shirt, somebody who isn't my mom, dad, or girlfriend. Please call in at 507-457-1615 when we ask for the 16-second squeeze. What is the 16-second squeeze, do you ask? Well, it's a trivia game where you go against one of the people on recording that I have, and you have to name as many things as you can in 16 seconds of a specific category. If you end up beating the other two callers over the course of the show in margin of victory, then you win the free squeeze T-shirt, the one that I'm wearing right now. I wear it a bit too much, but you know what? I think there's like 10 or 15 squeeze T-shirts out there on campus, and I see a lot of them. Sometimes I see them out, and or actually one time I was reffing in the intramural basketball game, and Chris Beersdorf, who came in a couple weeks ago, he's a soccer player here at St. Mary's. He was playing in a squeeze T-shirt, and I was reffing his team. So I don't really know, conflict of interest there. A little biased towards his team. It was kind of tough to ref. But again, thank you to anyone who owns a squeeze T-shirt. Don't be afraid to wear it. And if I see you, I'll shout you out on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. Alec, how was your break? We've been gone for 2 weeks. What were you up to?
I went to a lot of hockey games. Went to 5 hockey games in 2 days. High school hockey, which Minnesota high school hockey is very fun and enjoyable to me. But no, besides that, just been chilling. Wanted to get back, watch football finally without having to do homework. So that was what I was most excited for. The Bears, I thought they were going to lose, but then I saw Kerryon Johnson and Marvin Jones were out, so then they didn't have a chance.
Every time the Bears win, there's always an excuse for why they won. It's never, the Bears are a good team. I mean, they're 8-3 at this point, and they just beat a team for the second time with a backup quarterback. So I think, can you at least say the Bears are good?
No.
Oh, my Lord. Okay. So watched some hockey, watched some football, didn't do any homework. That's a lot like my break, minus the hockey, because I don't do that very often. But I watched a lot of football over the last couple of weeks, did not do one lick of homework. I don't even think I opened my laptop on break. Probably should have. I'm regretting it a bit right now. But sports, family, friends, and making money are a little bit more important sometimes than schoolwork.
You do Uber Eats?
I did Uber Eats a lot. I went really hard. I made a couple bucks. And actually, I just realized that Uber Eats is in Rochester now, and I was going to start doing it up there. But I emailed Uber, and they said it's actually really not going to work if you try to transfer between two cities because the wait list is a week or two. So kind of disappointed. That would have been a nice $50 here and there every Saturday, but it's okay. The squeeze and schoolwork and track are more important. Speaking of track, I had my first track meet on Friday against Viterbo, a little scrimmage action. First time jumping for me since March, and it felt like the first time jumping since March. Did not go particularly well, nothing to write home about, but happy to be back on the runway. A lot of PRs on the track team, which was surprising so early in the season on our less than great track surface. A lot of, I know Matt Boone PR'd, lifetime PR'd in the 55 and the 200 indoors. One of my counterparts in the long jump, Thomas Walker, PR'd lifetime. Desmond Stewart, PR'd in the long jump. Just a great all-around day and excited to be back on the track. Also, you and I, for the first time ever, had a live broadcast of the basketball game. I know you are a regular on the St. Mary's athletic live streams, but it was my first time doing it. You were the play-by-play guy, and I was the color commentary. It was a little different being in the passenger seat for once. Normally, I'm the one driving, and you're the one that adds stuff on. So, I mean, it was a dream for me to finally get to do that. Has it always been a dream for you to be a play-by-play?
No, last year was definitely a dream, but then like you said, I do almost every single game for every sport. So now it kind of feels like a job, like you're doing it day by day. But no, it's really fun. Like we were just talking about, you're right up next to the court. You're right up to the field, the rink. You feel like you're in the game. So again, we're both tennis and track. That's not the two biggest sports at this campus. It's more basketball, hockey, volleyball, and even soccer. So it's nice to be like involved in all those sports.
Yeah,
for both of us.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just a lot of fun. It's so cool that we get to do it. Going to such a small school, there isn't much competition. I mean, like you said, you do every single game. If you went to a big school like Kansas or anything like that, you might not even get a chance to get behind a microphone until your senior year.
Exactly.
So the fact that you're having all of this, experience so early is really incredible, and
for sure.
It's a good thing that we go to this school. But on a more somber note, this is something that came up a couple days ago. Kareem Hunt. There was a video that came out of him beating, pushing, kicking, shoving a woman in a hotel hallway. This happened back in February. And who else would you think posted the video other than TMZ? TMZ got the video, posted it. 2 days later, Kareem Hunt, he's gone. He's not on the Chiefs anymore. He's not on an NFL team. He's on the commissioner's bereavement list, I believe. And it's a crappy situation. And then I saw, I'm a big Cubs guy on Twitter, follow a lot of Cubs accounts. It's my favorite team to follow. And as you know, we talked about Addison Russell a couple weeks ago, maybe a couple months ago at this point, and his situation with the domestic violence against his ex-wife, Melissa Reedy. And Cubs fans were comparing the two. The Cubs just tendered a contract to Addison Russell, and Kareem Hunt is ousted and is not on a roster at this point. But they're totally different situations. The NFL, the Cubs fans were saying that the Chiefs handled this the way that you're supposed to handle it. No, they didn't. I mean, we just saw an Adam Schefter report today from the NFL saying that the NFL investigated this in February. So did the Chiefs, and neither of those two entities interviewed Kareem Hunt or the woman involved.
Yeah, they were talking on Sunday Countdown this morning. How does TMZ find the video before the NFL does? Like, that's not, I don't know how that would happen.
Exactly. So to me, that sounds a lot like the NFL knew about it, wanted to cover it up, and hoped that the video would never come out. Of course, it comes out, and then the Chiefs treat it the right way. That's not what happened. The Chiefs did not handle this correctly. The Chiefs did not handle this any more correctly than the Cubs did. In the Chiefs' case, their hand was forced. Once a video like that comes out, such an inflammatory, just egregious video, you can't keep that guy on your team. I mean, the fan outrage would be massive. So their hand was forced in cutting Kareem Hunt. The Cubs, on the other hand, I think are handling it the way you're supposed to handle it. To think that you can cut that player from your team for nothing is a little hard to handle. And there's in no way am I saying what Addison Russell has done over the course of his life is okay. It's not. But Cubs fans can't expect Addison Russell to not get a second chance, because that's kind of how it works most of the time in sports. And in Kareem Hunt's case, he got a second chance. They were investigating it the whole time. They probably knew what was going on, and they did nothing about it. So don't, Cubs fans, don't be saying that Kareem Hunt situation was handled so much better than the Addison Russell situation, because in my mind, it just wasn't.
And the Chiefs are looking, they might have been favored to maybe be a Super Bowl contender. And I think now without him, I don't think they're going to do anything. So they must have really, they said they lied to him too. Like he said that he didn't do anything. So again, I think lying that's what they kind of said was the big portion for their releasing. So
yeah. Two different situations, and it's hard to relate them, but Cubs fans wanted to do that a lot. Isabel is in the hallway, and we have an early guest for once. Normally they're around 10:30, but Isabel could only come in at 10:10, and I'm excited to have her in. This is Is it Beteg?
Beteg.
Beteg.
Yep.
Beteg. Okay. It looks a little bit harder than it is, I guess.
Yeah.
Beteg. So you are a sophomore, just like Alec and I, and we're all in the same sports management class. So, we've heard each other's opinions a lot in class. And you're also a basketball player on the very successful women's basketball team. You're a sophomore. You're a guard from Maple Park, Illinois.
Yep. Rock on.
Graduated from St. Francis College Prep. Now, Maple Park, I'm not familiar with Maple Park. Where around Chicago is it?
It's like an hour directly west, so it's out more out in the country. Cornfields.
Okay, yeah. And then you have a sister here as well, Alice. She's also in our sports management
Yeah.
class. Both of you are very bright young students, and I'm a little bit jealous of your acumen when it comes to giving presentations and writing papers, because I can't normally say the same. But let's not talk about the classroom here. Come on, you're a basketball player. This is a sports radio show. Let's talk about basketball. So I was looking at the stats. You only averaged 1 point a game last season. You weren't utilized very much. And through 6 games this year, you're up to 5 points per game, also averaging more minutes than last season. What is leading to your added playing time so far this year?
So the major contribution this year was the last game when Alec was announcing. We lost a lot of people, and we just weren't playing well. So UW Oshkosh was up on us by a lot, and coach was just wanted to try something new. I heard he asked the assistant coach, "Hey, you want to get some energy on the floor?" Coach was like, "Sure." So they're like, "We don't care if you score, just go out there and bring some energy." So I was excited. I was like, "All right." And he ended up leaving me out there for a while. So I was excited. Just go out there, do something. Doesn't really matter at that point. We're down by 20 points, just go out there, have fun. So
yeah, and UW Oshkosh coming in was beating their opponents by average margin of victory of 25 points, and they ended up beating the Cardinals by 25. Oshkosh just, when you're that good, you're that good. It's tough to do some things, but you did. You scored some baskets and you got some playing time. You're always the hype woman at the end of the bench. What do you think? What's your reasoning behind always being so active when you're on the bench?
So at the beginning of the season last year, I was quiet. I didn't really say much. And then coming the second half of the season, Shaylee Vessel transferred to St. Mary's, and she started bringing some more energy. And once she went out onto the floor, the bench was quiet again. And I was like, hey, let's think of some celebrations. So we started coming up with new celebrations, getting everybody involved, just making everybody feel like they were a part of the team if they weren't on the floor, if they were on the floor. And it just kind of took off. We came up with some new celebrations, some curling, some baseball. So just getting the fun in there.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, you said you mentioned Shaylee. Your team is dealing with multiple injuries. One of them is her Abby Winter, Brandy Blattner as well. And yet you were still able to take down a MIAC opponent yesterday in Carleton, beating them 78-57. How did you do it missing those key players?
I think everybody really came together. Coach preached before the game, communication. And we just kind of got together, said we need to do this together rather than doing it apart. When we played Oshkosh, everyone was trying to do kind of their own thing, and we decided we need to come together, kind of be a team here and figure out how we're all going to do this together and kind of put it all together. So
yeah, next man up, and Rachel Kettle has been the next man up for sure. She just won MIAC Player of the Week honors last week. What can you say about her? How is her season going?
She actually missed yesterday because she had a wedding, but
there we go. See,
but she
do the research.
She really has come together for us with Brandy being out, Abby being out. She really has been the next post up, and she has been doing the dirty work for us, getting those rebounds and putting them back up for us. So.
I mean, there you go. Even my question was made better if I would have added Rachel Kettle in there too, because you still beat Carleton by over 20 points. So you kind of mentioned earlier your new coach, David Foley. Both basketball teams this season have a new coach. So what were your first impressions of Coach Foley?
First, he emailed us as soon as he was put on as coach, and he was like, hey, I'm excited. Like, I'm still down in Louisiana. I got to drive up. And he's like, 15-hour drive. So we were like, he was kind of he'd call us, he'd email us. So he was very active to begin with. And then once we got on campus, he was always in his office. He had candy jars. He was trying to entice us to get into his office. He was smart that way. And he's a real personable guy. He'll talk to you. He'll make jokes with you. The other day at practice, he had this thing. He always has like an objective for the day. And so 2 days ago, objective was goldfish or shark. And a couple of us were sitting in the film room before film, and he walked in and we said, Coach, what's this goldfish shark thing? And he goes, what do you mean? And we're like, well, it depends on how you think of it. Like, sharks dominate, but Goldfish School. So are we supposed to be a team or are we supposed to dominate? He goes, would you quit overthinking it? So now he'll go up to some of the kids and be like, hey, Goldfish. And so they get kind of upset by that, but he likes to joke around. So.
That's great. Yeah. I mean, I haven't really talked to him yet, but I know his door is always open when I walk by it down here under Toner. And I've seen the candy, and there always seems like there's a player in his office, and that's always a good sign when the coaches like the player, or when the players like the coach. They want to talk to him and they want to get better for him.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're off to a quick start, 4-2 so far this season. What are some things that the team can do better?
I think communication. That's something that he's preached the whole time. Just you got to communicate, and it's interesting because he'll bring real life aspects into the sport, which is something that's good because you're not going to play basketball the rest of your life. So he'll be like, in the business world, for example, we're all business majors. You have to be able to communicate with other people. If you can't communicate, you're not going to have a job. So he's really preached the communication aspect. I think he was a business major as well, so he kind of knows from firsthand experience. So it's kind of interesting that he ties all that in. But I think communication will be something that, and teamwork as well, getting everybody the ball rather than trying to take it ourselves. So.
Okay, and then personally, what do you think you can do better?
A little bit of everything, to be honest. You can always improve on things. Just getting in the gym, getting shots up, working on your defense. Really, just a little bit of everything.
So. Without Brandy Blattner, you're definitely a different team. I mean, she's your leading scorer from last season. She averages a double-double. She's an All-American. When do you expect to get her back? And then when she is injected into the lineup, do you think that's going to be a good thing for your team?
I'm not sure. She had her boot off the other day, and then she had it back on. So she's been going back and forth. No one's quite sure when she's going to be back. It'll be interesting to see what happens when she does step back into the team. But I think that she's going to motivate people. Will be the biggest thing, is motivating people to get better. She's always underneath the basket getting rebounds, scoring. So I think that having her back will really motivate people to step up their game and be a little bit better than they used to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, the fact that you've won a game already without her, and you have another game against Concordia that hopefully you guys can pull out without her too. It's a good sign when a team loses their best player and they can still continue to win. That's a sign of good things to come, I think. So any last thoughts on anything?
Not really.
No? Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us today. You are listening to The Squeeze with Anthony Pasquesi, produced by Alec Root on KSMR Radio, broadcasting live on 92.5 FM on campus and 94.3 FM in Winona, Minnesota, as well as online at smumn.edu/KSMR. KSMR, Real College Radio, 16-second squeeze. After the break, that's what we want to do. 507-457-1615. This is your chance to win a free Squeeze t-shirt. 507-457-1615. We're going to take it to break here. Call in, and you could be a contestant on the 16-second squeeze. We'll be right back. You are listening to The Squeeze with Anthony Pasquazi on KSMR Radio, broadcasting live on 92.5 FM on campus and 94.3 FM in Winona, Minnesota, as well as online at smumn.edu/KSMR. KSMR, Real College Radio. No 16-second squeeze callers. That's okay. 507-457-1615. You can call while we're on air. I'm not opposed to that, but hey, if you don't want a t-shirt, then I guess we're not going to give away a t-shirt. 507-457-1615. That was a nice early interview, earlier than we normally do it. Later on in the show at 11:30, which is a later interview than we normally do, we have the stud of the men's basketball team, Eli Cave. A couple weeks ago, we had Brandy Blattner, and now we have Eli Cave. So we're doing well in booking the All-Stars, I think. He's averaging 21 points a game. That's third in the MIAC. He's leading them in every statistical category. And what's amazing about him is he was out all season last year with a knee injury, I believe. So he's only a sophomore. This is his third year in college, but he's only a sophomore because he didn't compete last year. And in his first season, he only averaged 7 points a game as a freshman. So something is clicking, and I can't wait to ask him about it later in the show. So Eli Cave, we're going to talk. I wrote a news story about Coach Joe Fano. We're going to talk a little bit about that later. And college football. Oh, baby, did I get into it on Twitter last night for college football. That's what makes it so great. That's why I think the 4-team playoff is so good, because although some teams that are definitely capable of being in the playoff don't make it, the conversation that's drummed up because of only 4 teams getting it is just so good. Do you have an opinion? Do you think it should be expanded, or is 4 teams enough?
I think that should be 6, because I think around the 6-7 mark, or the 4-5 marks, that's where all the debate happens. 4, 5, 6, and I feel like top 6 this year. I think you would have your 6 teams, because I think you could put UCF in there, and that wouldn't be, no one would argue at all. So I think you should do 6, because then you're giving the top 2 teams an advantage. They get a bye to the semis. So doing 8, I don't think that should be right, because then the 1 and the 2 seed could get upset in the quarterfinals.
Yeah.
You're not even a game away from the championship, and you get upset in the quarterfinals. Like, I feel like fan base would kind of go down if there's some upsets if that happens.
That's a very original thought. I've heard 8, I've heard 16, I've heard 4. I've never heard 6.
I think 6 would be perfect.
Yeah, that does actually sound pretty good.
I do it for all my fantasy football playoffs. I do 6 teams, because I think if you get top 2,
you deserve a bye.
If you think 5 years ago they only let the top 2 get in because you're the top 2. If you're top 2, you should be rewarded some way. So I think you should get a bye. That happens.
Look at this breaking thoughts from Alec Rude.
It's gonna come to play.
I like it. Now, I mean, if it happens, you heard it here first, I guess.
I'll be on the committee in a couple of years.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly have never. I mean, someone has probably said let's do 16s, but I've never heard it. I have just so good on you.
I think it would please everyone more than 4 or 8. So that's what I think.
But let's be real. It's down to 4. I mean, that's what it is. And my argument on Twitter was Oklahoma does not deserve to be named a top 4 team. Now, everyone is saying, Oklahoma's 11-1, Georgia is 10-2. So obviously Oklahoma is better. Look at Oklahoma's schedule. People say UCF didn't play anybody. The Oklahoma Sooners played 3 games against ranked opponents. They had a point differential of 13 in those 3 games, and they lost one of them. They didn't play anybody.
And then they beat Kansas 55-40. Kansas is so bad at football. You let their defense just
exactly.
If you faced Alabama, that's why I think Georgia Alabama should be, because that would be a game. Oklahoma Alabama.
It's not going to be.
I don't care if Kyler Murray scores 30 points. Alabama's going to score at least 50, at least.
On that defense. That's what people don't seem to understand. No matter how good your offense is against Alabama, that doesn't mean that you're superior to them or you have a chance of beating them. Oklahoma, like you said, gave up 40 points to Kansas.
46 to Texas Tech. They beat Army by 7. Army. So Army's okay this year, but 7 points to Army.
Yeah. But let's go back to Kansas. Kansas was 3-8 this season, and you know the only other team that Kansas scored 40 points against? Rutgers. Yes, Rutgers, the 1-10 team out of the Big Ten, is the only other school that allowed Kansas to score 40 points. And you're telling me that Oklahoma is a top 4 team? I don't see it. I don't care that Georgia has 2 losses. I wouldn't even say that Georgia has 2 losses because one loss was LSU. That was
at LSU.
That's their loss. It was 36-16. They lost by 20. They came out flat. But their second loss, barely. Come on, they lost by 7 to the bar none, far and away best team in college football, and they only lost by a touchdown.
They outplayed them too. Georgia outplayed them.
And if not for a late crumble, then right now we're sitting here saying, maybe Georgia should be number 1 because they just beat Alabama. And is Alabama in? Of course Alabama's in. So how come if Alabama loses to Georgia, Alabama is still in? But if Georgia loses to Alabama, Georgia's not in. I just look at the bodies of work. That's the conversation I had on Twitter. Look at the bodies of work of Oklahoma and of Georgia. Georgia came out flat one time this season, and that was against LSU. They blew out every other opponent. Oklahoma was in a 1-possession game, like you said, with Texas Tech, Army. I mean, the list goes on. You could finish it for me.
Georgia's closest win is by 14 points. That's their closest one. And they beat Florida by 19, who was ranked 9th, Kentucky by 17, who was ranked 9th, and then Auburn by 17, who's also in the top 25. And then they lost to at LSU, who was 13th.
And that's the one game that they came out flat on.
Yeah.
I saw on Twitter the ESPN poll, who's your 4th, and Oklahoma was 50% of the vote for the 4 teams. We're going to talk about UCF a little later, but I don't think they deserve it really yet. Georgia, I kind of I asked you before the show, I hoped that you had a differing opinion so that we could debate it, but you and I have the right opinion in our minds. Of course, that's what an opinion is. 507-457-1615. This is the first kind of take I've had in a while. If I want to be a sports radio host, I should probably have more takes, but I actually feel very strongly about this. I normally don't get this up in arms about college football, but people telling me that Oklahoma is a top 4 team in the nation, absolutely ridiculous. And the rebuttal that I heard a lot is, well, Alabama just proved that they could beat Georgia. So why do they have to do it again? I mean, that's just how it works when you're in the most competitive conference in the United States, the SEC. Top 4 teams in the nation can play each other in the championship. I mean, every year for the last 2 years, both SEC teams have made it in the championship, even if one lost. So Why is this year any different? Clearly, they're the best. They're the better team. I just
watch a committee just turn all heads and put Ohio State, and how funny would that?
Ohio State or UCF. The world would burn if UCF was in.
Hey, it's 30 minutes.
I'm excited. This should be fun. We'll have like a live reveal kind of thing happening. But I mean, I said we'll talk about UCF later, but we're on such a roll with college football. Let's just talk about them right now. They've won 25 games in a row. That's nuts. That is some next level, the U kind of stuff. And most of the time, they've been dominant. Now, they almost lost in the AAC championship, which is a little embarrassing. Yeah. And it's going to poke holes in their national or their playoff hopes, of course. I mean, there isn't much hope there for them. But UCF, if they let's say they go to a bowl game and they play, I don't really know how the bowl games have been matching up. I don't know what the projections are, but let's say that Oklahoma or Georgia, okay, let's just, because we wanted to argue that. Let's say Georgia makes the top 4. So UCF, if they play Ohio State, or if they play Oklahoma, or if they play an SEC team that's top 10 ranked, and they win again, I think they have every right to feel slighted that they didn't make it into the playoff for the second year in a row, because they haven't lost a game. They have not lost a game in 2 seasons, and they beat a top 10 ranked Auburn team last year in their bowl game. So I guess look at their body of work, Anthony. You just said Oklahoma hasn't played anybody. Well, UCF hasn't either. But the difference is UCF hasn't lost to anybody. They haven't lost a game in 2 seasons. So I don't know if necessarily they are a top 4 talent team. They're the top 4 team in the nation. I understand why they would feel slighted if they don't make the playoff again, especially if they win a bowl game.
Projected bowl game, they have them playing LSU. Someone does. So I think they could beat LSU's not playing that good. But like you said, they beat Auburn last year, who beat Alabama, who won the national championship. For my sake, I think Georgia's better than UCF, obviously. I think a lot of teams are better than UCF. I think they should be in the playoff, though. Like, this is the only.
You think UCF should be in the playoff?
Yes.
Okay.
This is the only sport in any college where if you go undefeated, you don't have a chance at the title. There's no other sport. Why not? You've done everything. What can you tell these kids?
Yeah, what more can they do?
You can't do anything.
It's not their fault that they're in a lesser conference.
Like, they barely beat Memphis in the regular season and the playoff, but every other game they won by double digits. Like, I don't care how bad they were. Cincinnati was ranked at the time, and they killed them. So I think they should get a chance. I don't – unless there's 4 other undefeated teams, I think UCF should get a chance.
And a lot of people will say, well, if UCF was the 4 seed, then look who they have to play. They have to play Alabama, and is that even worth it for them? Because obviously they get blown out. I don't think there's any question about it, which is why the 6-team playoff with a bye sounds so good to me. Like, honestly,
This year would be hard, though, because then you'd have Georgia, Oklahoma, Ohio State. Then it would be 6 or 7.
So it would be the 3 seed versus the 6 seed. So right now it would be Notre Dame versus UCF. That's a compelling game. That is a good game. A lot of people don't have much faith in Notre Dame in the top 4. I do. I think they have a top 3 defense. I think they have a pretty good offense.
You know what I saw this morning on College Game Day? One of the main guys, they think Georgia is moving up to 3. And Notre Dame's falling to 4 just with how good Georgia looked. That's what they said. That's kind of interesting, too.
Now this is why college football is so gosh darn fun, because you could just talk about it forever, and that's what makes it so great. And I love how it comes right before the NFL playoffs, and it's done by the time the playoffs roll around. So it's just topic after topic after topic, and it keeps it rolling. But Notre Dame, that would be ridiculous because Notre Dame didn't play. I mean, they went undefeated. Yeah. So their body of work looks great. They beat 4 or 5 ranked opponents. They never looked flat. I mean, they pretty much dominated this season. Against USC, I guess their last time out, they didn't look great, but that happens every season. Going into USC is never a fun thing at the end of a long season. I mean, you can go through and look. I can't remember a time where they had an Oklahoma game. I guess the 10 spot on Northwestern is a little.
Ball State, they only beat by 8. Vanderbilt, they only beat by 5. Pittsburgh, they only beat by 5. So that's kind of.
I guess. Yeah. But Pittsburgh was in the ACC championship. Yeah. Ball State, there's no excuse for that, but they did win by 8. Okay, there we go. I probably should have backed up my claims, but Oklahoma's schedule looks a lot like Notre Dame's schedule. And I guess I'm a little biased because I'm a Notre Dame fan, but so Anthony, if Georgia is better than Oklahoma, why isn't Georgia better than Notre Dame?
Like, I'm a Clemson fan, and obviously they haven't
lost.
They haven't crushed teams, but their schedule's not that hard either.
Yeah, but okay, so I think it goes back to your argument about every other sport. If you go undefeated, you make the gosh darn playoffs. You get to have your chance to be the best team in the league. Isn't Rice undefeated too? Is that what I've heard? Is Rice undefeated? No, they're not. Okay.
That would be interesting.
I was just kidding. It's a meme. It's a meme on Twitter. Everyone says put Rice in the playoff. There are 4 undefeated teams this season. You have Alabama, Clemson, Notre Dame, UCF. Those are the teams that haven't lost. They deserve the playoff. Now,
you have 4 teams. Yeah.
You have 4 teams who haven't lost a gosh darn game. And the AAC is not necessarily as competitive as the SEC, ACC. Well, they might be as competitive as the Big Ten because Big Ten sucks. But they still went out and beat who was in front of them. You can't ask anything more of them.
Yeah. Do you know what Rice's record is?
Isn't it like, what is it?
They're 2-11.
Yeah, no, that's the joke. Everyone on Twitter is like, put Rice in the college football playoff. because they're just so great. What are they called? They're the Rice Owls?
Owls, yeah.
They're the Owls. See, I remember things.
Okay, the AP poll just came out, and Georgia moved up
Whoa.
to 4. That's the AP poll, not the playoff.
Yeah.
But that's what the AP poll is. Similar people that do the rank. It's not the same people, but it's similar people.
It does mean a
that do it,
lot. Yeah. I mean that's the coaches poll. That's the voting. That's who the coaches think is the top 4 teams in the nation. And look at that. Oklahoma, number 5. Ohio State, number 6. Michigan, number 7. And UCF, number 8. I don't understand. UCF just won their conference championship, and they didn't move up on Michigan.
I don't know why Michigan. That's so dumb.
I mean, Ohio State kind of struggled with Northwestern, and Ohio State blew out Michigan without a chance. And UCF isn't up on Michigan. I don't understand that. It might change in the college football rankings, but hey, that looks good for us right now. Georgia in the top 4. Hopefully the college football
We can talk about this for the next 24 minutes.
Yeah, we need to stop talking about it because we've been talking about it so long. 507-457-1615. We're kind of behind on 16-second squeezes if anybody wants to call in that category, or if you just want to talk college football. We've been talking some good stuff for the last couple minutes, and why not continue? 507-457-1615. And in the interim, I'm going to give you a little preview into just how good Eli Cave is. Eli is coming in at 11:30, and I wanted to do some research on him. So here is Eli Cave's Cardinal Spotlight. Eli is a 6'7" sophomore from St. Paul, Minnesota. This is a rap sheet, my friends. This is a rap sheet. 3rd in the MIAC in scoring with 21.2 points per game. 6th in the MIAC with 7.8 rebounds per game. Shooting 50% from the field, which is good for 13th in the MIAC. He's also playing 33.8 minutes per game, good for 6th in the MIAC. He leads the team in assists with 3.8 per game. That's 8th in the conference. Career high 35 points earlier this season against Martin Luther, a game in which he also had a career high in rebounds with 12 for his first career double-double. 35 points. Martin Luther is a bum. I know that. But 35 points for a Division III college basketball player is impressive. I don't care who you're playing against. This guy is a stud.
The way he drives the basket too, like no one touches him when he goes to the basket. I'm just trying to think about last year. If they would have had him, they would have maybe won a couple. But obviously him and Fano and even Kevin Gleason. I didn't know he can.
He was hurt all year
play.
last year,
but I didn't know he was going to be this good this year. He's been really good as well. And I think him and Eli are good buddies, so it's been cool to see both of them back out there.
Eli, 6'7", he dribbles the ball up quite a bit. Like you said, he drives the lane very well. He passes the ball. He's the assist leader on the team, and also he can hit the 3. Now, this whole team shoots a lot of threes, and we're going to talk to Eli a little bit later. My guess is that I've been saying this for a couple weeks, and I said it on the broadcast on Wednesday with you. Coach Fano gets angry at a lot of things. He gets angry at missed free throws, at turnovers, at just dumb plays. That's what he gets angry at. But I have yet to see him ever be angry at any of his players for shooting a shot, even if it's contested, even if it's absolutely ridiculous. Why the heck would you shoot that from 10 feet behind the three-point line? I've yet to see him get mad at that. So I'm thinking that he has faith in his guys, and he wants that faith that he has in them to spread amongst them so that they believe in themselves. And, I mean, Caden Freetley, the freshman yesterday, I don't have the numbers in front of me. It felt like he was 0 for 6 or 7 from 3. But he kept shooting. And yeah, that may be why they lost. You know, sometimes when you don't have your shot, you should stop shooting. But when you have guys like Kareem down low who can jump out of the gym, Jacob Bailey who can just jump out of the gym and get those offensive rebounds, they're tops in the MIAC in offensive rebounds. So Joe Fano wants his team to put up shots as fast as they can, just a barrage of three-pointers, and get clean up the offensive glass. That's what I think their strategy is, and we'll ask Eli a little bit later. 507-457-1615 is the phone number. Now we need 2 16-second squeezes. We're going to break here. It is 10:40, 457-1615. Call in if you want to compete in the 16-second squeeze for your chance to win a T-shirt. Feel free. I mean, we're behind here, so this might be those late risers a chance to finally win a squeeze T-shirt, because we're going to be heading into the 11 o'clock hour without giving one away. 507-457-1615 is the phone number. And if you don't want to be on the 16-second squeeze and you want to talk about college football, everyone has an opinion. As I'm
Anthony, they're talking about UCF right now, maybe making the playoff on College Game Day. That is shocking.
That would be awesome. So my number one would be obviously UCF in the playoff because they're undefeated. But the reason we didn't open with that is because I just think it's a little unreasonable. Like, I don't think that the playoff committee will do that. So then I went right to Georgia because Oklahoma just doesn't deserve it. They don't deserve any recognition for being a top 4 team. Now, they won the Big 12, and that's awesome, and they have an awesome quarterback, and they have a great offense. But when you don't have any bit of defense, I don't care if you play in the Big 12 and no one plays defense in the Big 12. Well, guess what? In the SEC, in the ACC, Notre Dame, they play defense. So good luck scoring on them when you've been scoring on these defensive-less teams all your Big 12 schedule. I think when you make that argument, Oklahoma, I mean, how can you make an argument for Oklahoma to be in the top 4? 507-457-1615. We're going to take it to break. Thank you for listening to the Squeeze. You are listening to The Squeeze with Anthony Pasquesi, produced by Alec Root on KSMR Radio, broadcasting live on 92.5 FM on campus and 94.3 FM in Winona, Minnesota, as well as online at smumn.edu/KSMR, KSMR Real College Radio. We're also streaming live on YouTube if you want to see our beautiful faces. That channel name is Anthony Pasquesi, Pasquesi is how you spell my last name. So tune in on there. I do believe that it is the easiest way to listen to The Squeeze is on YouTube, because you could just click one little link and then there you go. It's on Twitter. My Twitter is at Anthony_pass. Alec's Twitter is, what is it? At Alec Rude 10?
Yeah.
At Alec Rude 10. And then also you can follow The Squeeze at The Squeeze, the number 4. We are very active there on Twitter with our Squeeze account. And I am also a fun follow if you ever want to see a bit of argument, because I am quite the internet troll when it comes to my opinions. 507-457-1615 is the phone number. 16-second squeeze, opinions, questions, really anything. We're taking a kind of a laid-back approach. Normally, we're a little stressed out when we don't get any 16-second squeeze callers, but
It's selection show Sunday.
it is, there you go. It's Selection Show Sunday, so people are busy, so I'm not too worried about it. 507-457-1615. We've been gone for 2 weeks, but St. Mary's Athletics has not been gone for 2 weeks. They've kept the ball rolling, and we're going to give you a season recap up to this point in the 2 weeks that we have been gone. We're going to start with the men's basketball team. The men's team is 3-3. 2 of their 3 wins came off of rather easy opponents in the UMAC, Crown College and Martin Luther. Crown College, though, did beat MIAC opponent Hamlin. And their win against the Luther Norse showed me that this young team does know how to win a tight one, winning 74-72. Eli Cave has taken off and has been insanely impressive. Coach Fano has brought a new culture to the team and does not seem to be opposed to his guys taking early threes in the shot clock. If his guys are open, he expects them to shoot. And that confidence that he has in them will start to bleed over into their games, and the players will eventually become more confident. The Olaf game can be considered a quality loss, as Olaf was 21-4 last season, but they should have beaten an undergunned Carleton team. Carleton is the best defensive team in the MIAC, but they do not have the shooters to match up with St. Mary's. In my opinion, St. Mary's should have won that game, and they let it go at the end. Cardinal ranks in the MIAC. The MIAC, by the way, my mom told me over break that she has no idea what the MIAC is, which is kind of disappointing because that means we kind of suck as a radio show. MIAC is the Minnesota Intercollegiate Athletic Conference. It is the Division III athletic conference in Minnesota. It's 12 pretty much Catholic schools in Minnesota. We're all Catholic, right?
I don't know if all of us are. I don't think Hamlin and Augsburg, I don't think they're Catholic.
Okay. So most of us are Catholic, but that's what the MIAC is. So the Cardinals ranks in the MIAC. Last place in the conference standings, but do have better overall records than McAllister, Gustavus, Concordia, Carleton, and St. Olaf. 9th in the conference in scoring with 68.5 points per game, 10th in shooting percentage, 5th in three-point percentage, and have shot more threes than everyone except McAllister, to go along with my theory earlier. 3rd in free throw percentage. Again, Coach Fano preaches, make your gosh darn free throws, and they have been. 3rd in free throw percentage, but are bottom 3 in attempts. So they need to get to the line more often to take advantage of their very good free throw percentage. 3rd in offensive rebounding, 4th in assists, and they're committing the 3rd most personal fouls as well. I know in the St. Olaf game, foul trouble had a lot to do with why they may have fell behind, because Jacob Bailey had 3 early in the first half. Eli Cave finished the game with 3. Kareem Anthony Bello finished with 3. Caden Freely finished with 3 personal fouls. So that was a big problem in the St. Olaf game, and you weren't there. But again, Jacob Bailey had 3 fouls in the first half. So those ticky-tack, little early aggressive fouls, you can't take them if you want to win games in the MIAC. Cardinals have 3 guys averaging double figures. Eli Cave, 21.2 points per game. The freshman, Caden Freely, with 10.7, and junior Kevin Gleason with 10.3. The rebounding leaders are as followed: Eli Cave, Kareem Anthony Bello, and Caden Freely. Assist leaders: Eli Cave, Kevin Gleason, and Caden Freely. Also, I just want to point out somebody who hasn't been showing up in the stat sheet very much lately, but freshman standout in my mind, David Chilson, is averaging 1 steal and half a block per game. He locked down Carlston McKenzie in the second half last night out, actually. Carlston McKenzie is 6'8". Carlston McKenzie is 255 pounds, so he's quite the large fella. He had 12 points in the first half, and then Mr. Jacob Chilson walked down to the court. Jacob Chilson is 6'6". He's only 180, so he was giving up 75 pounds to the man he was defending. Whew! Locked him down. I think Carlston McKenzie finished with 15 points, so he was a big reason why the Cardinals were able to be in that game late. It was tied at 50 with 5 minutes to go. They did end up losing by 6. That's enough about the men. Let's talk about the women. The women's team is 4-2 with a 1-0 record in the MIAC. They defeated Carleton last night by 20 points, a 3-4 Carleton team, a team last year that only went 8-17. So not exactly a quality MIAC opponent, but a MIAC win is a MIAC win. The Cardinals are picking up right where they left off after a 16-11 season last year, in which they made it to the MIAC Final Four. The story of this season has been their health. 2 key players have been out the entire season, and Brandy Blattner has been sidelined of late with an ankle injury. The female Cardinals ranks in the MIAC. They're 10th in three-point percentage, 5th in free throw percentage, and 3rd in rebounds per game, as well as 6th in points per game. Freshman Brooklyn Paulson is leading the team in points per game with 14.7. Very cool to see a freshman at the top of that list.
She can shoot it well.
Okay, that's awesome to hear because we lost a shooter last year, Alexa Huseman, who graduated. So hopefully Brooklyn
She
Paulson
mimics her a lot.
that's awesome. I haven't really seen the girls play yet, but that's awesome to hear. Followed by Maggie Robertson with 9.8, and then Rachel Kettle with 9.6. The rebound leaders, Rachel Kettle with 9 rebounds per game. That is good enough for 5th in the MIAC. Michelle Reamer and Maggie Robertson round out that leaders list. 3 Cardinals averaging more than 1 steal a game are Kirsten Keefe, Rachel Kettle, and Claire Patterson. Rachel Kettle making her name known across the MIAC in every facet of the game. That's enough about basketball. Let's head to the ice.
Yeah, going in the men's hockey Friday. I'm just looking at the line chart now for the Cardinals. Coach Bill Moore really decided to switch it up a little bit, decided to put Tommy Sting and Jack Sting, the 2 brothers, on the line together with Ryan Stornich. But the Cardinals coming in, again, they have not won a game yet, have not won a conference game, but they've probably had the toughest schedule in the entire nation, most likely right now. But they came in and played at St. John's, who is probably the 3rd best team in the MIAC, give or take a couple of teams. But they got to play at St. Cloud State University at their nice arena at the Herb Brooks Complex. But Sports Information Director Donnie Nato said in his report, St. Mary's University of Minnesota men's hockey coach Bill Moore knew the importance of a fast start in Friday's conference matchup against St. John's. And fast start there was by the Johnnies, as St. John's scored a pair of goals 3 minutes apart midway through the first period to grab an early 2-0 advantage. It was the Cardinals, however, who had the better finishing kick. St. Mary's scored the game-tying goal off the stick of Jack Stang with less than 2 minutes remaining in regulation to earn the Cardinals a 3-3 tie against the Johnnies, while brother Tommy Stang delivered a clinching shootout goal to help the Cardinals get the extra point. And just looking at the stats, Tommy Stang had 2 assists, and then his brother Jack Stang a goal and assist. So, again, a huge shootout victory for St. Mary's. In hockey, it works if you lose in overtime or regulation, you get 0 points. If you lose in a shootout, you get 1 point. If you win in a shootout, you get 2 points. And then winning in overtime or regulation, you get 3. So St. Mary's Friday night got a huge 2 points against a very, very talented St. John's team. And then on Saturday night, Cardinals pulled away with a 4-3 overtime victory. Donnie Nato wrote, "Imagine that. The St. Mary's University of Minnesota men's hockey team found itself immersed in yet another overtime game. In fact, for the 3rd straight game, the Cardinals, who played the 2 4-on-4 and 3-on-3 deadlocks in its previous 2 contests, found themselves headed to overtime Saturday afternoon for their rematch with St. John's. This time around, however, there would be no tie. Ryan Stornich made sure of that. Stornich scored his 2nd goal of the season just 20 seconds in the overtime, lifting the Cardinals to a 4-3 win over the Johnnies and giving St. Mary's 5 of a possible 6 points in the team's 2-conference series. And just looking at some stats, Tyson Liverance, the freshman defender, had a goal and an assist. Jack Hatton, another freshman, had a goal and assist. And then Dylan Robertson had 2 assists. So, again, huge for the Cardinals, 5 out of 6 possible points against St. John's. And now the Cardinals have their first 3 MIAC matchups so far have been against the 1, 2, and 3 teams in the preseason poll. So now we have the remaining 4, 5, 6, 7, and so on coming up. But Friday night, I would like to say this to anyone that's listening that might be a student here. We play UW Superior, I believe, Friday night, and they have this thing called the teddy bear toss, where you bring a teddy bear, it can be used or it can be new, and it's for donation. I think it's for like a hospital or something, just to give the kids. And it's either when the Cardinals score their first goal, or if they don't score in the first after the first period, you throw all the teddy bears on the ice. And this has been very, very popular throughout the whole nation. About just it's been great donation, and it's just really, really fun. So hopefully the Cardinals can score in the first period, but that's why they say you either do it for the first or after the first period, because if it got late in the third and the Cardinals score and it takes a while to pick up those teddy bears, I don't think
That'll be tough.
Superior would be too happy. But no, it's very cool.
That's actually kind of cool
Yeah.
because I listen to the Score in Chicago all the time, and they advertise the Chicago Wolves, and they advertise the teddy bear toss. So it's
Yeah,
cool to
it's
see
really
that
cool.
we're kind of in
It's
on
going
the
to get a
thing.
lot of people there too. And they're home both games Friday, Saturday, and then
Oh,
women
awesome.
are home Saturday, and then both basketball are home Wednesday. So it's going to be an exciting week before
And
finals.
last week was awesome too. We had a bunch of home games this week as well. So
And finals week, there's not many events. So these
Yeah.
past 2 weeks, it's going
That's
to be
awesome.
really, really fun.
yeah, that's awesome. And I will say, I'm very excited. I talked to my dad about it yesterday. The basketball team, the men's basketball team, is heading to North Park on December
saw that.
29th in Chicago. That's where Joe Fano just most recently was assistant coaching at that university. And it's in Chicago. I'll be home for break. So I'm definitely going to make my way out to North Park University to watch those boys play. I'm excited for my dad to finally get to see who I've been talking about for
Yeah.
so long. I think it'll be kind of cool.
No, awesome.
So that was the men's hockey team. How about the women's hockey? How did they do this weekend?
Yeah, women's hockey team they played St. Benedict on Friday night. Colin Sturr and also Steve Reamer were on the call for that one on Friday night.
2 guys, 1 take.
Yeah, the show there. The Cardinals came away with a 3-0 victory against St. Benedict, who is not a very high caliber team, but they're okay. But the Donnie Nato wrote the St. Mary's University of Minnesota women's hockey team entered Friday's MIAC showdown against St. Benedict, having scored 3 goals in their last 5 games, a span of 300 minutes. So they were struggling to score. But the Cardinals needed less than 11 minutes to score 3 goals against the Bennies. And with Ashley Corcoran in net, 3 goals was more than enough with her getting a shutout. Just looking at the stats, defenseman Natalie Ryan had 2 goals. She might even be one of the leading point getters as a defenseman. She's been outstanding. Delaney Wolf had a goal, another defenseman. So all 3 defensemen scored the 3 goals. Maddie Walraff added an assist, and then Jordan Majeski also added an assist. And then Saturday afternoon, the team played. That was a 2:00 start time. Did not go the best for the Cardinals, though. They lost 5-1 to St. Benedict. Donnie Nato wrote, for the second game in a row, the St. Mary's University of Minnesota and St. Benedict women's hockey teams headed into the locker room after one period with one team leading 3-0. Unlike Friday's 3-0 scenario in which the Cardinals were the goal scorers, it was the Bennies who enjoyed the highest scoring opening 20 minutes, and they never took their foot off the gas. St. Benedict scored the game's first 4 goals, including those 3 in the first period, as the Bennies handed the Cardinals a 5-1 MIAC setback Saturday afternoon at the St. Mary's Ice Arena. Bailey Went had the lone goal for the Cardinals. No one had an assist there. So, again, Cardinals very good Friday night, but Saturday is not a good loss for them. But hopefully they will rebound in their next game against Stevens Point. I believe they're at Stevens Point on Friday, and then they're home. They're home on Saturday against Stevens Point. Yes, and then they're at Stevens Point January 4th. So they're going to play
There
them
you
a
go.
month after
You
in the
got
tournament.
quite a break.
Yeah.
St. Benedict, one of those MIAC schools with the very original name. They're the St. Benedict Bennies.
Yeah.
I hate it. I hate it so much. You got the Tommies and the Johnnies and the Olies and what else do we got? We got, so the Cardinals, that's original. We got the Cobbers, that's original.
That's really.
So
Did you say Gusties?
Gusties, oh my gosh. And then we have the Bethel Royals. So there we go. Finally a real name. And who else? Who else am I trying to think of?
Olies, Gusties,
Tommies, Johnnies.
Knights. They're not. That's
No,
not
not
original.
Knights. No, it is original.
Augies. Did you
Oh
say?
my gosh, the Augies. I mean, what?
The Pipers.
Okay, well, at least they're the Hamlin Pipers. What were they thinking?
Augies.
Just, did one team in the Maya, I guess we could look it up. Did one team in the Maya, it was probably St. Thomas, to be honest. They just decided to call themselves the Tommies. And then St. John's was like, oh, They're the Tommies. We're the Johnnies. And then St. Olaf was, oh, well, then we're the Olies, and we're the Augies, and we're the Bennies. It's just, I don't. It's a weird thing to quibble with, but I don't appreciate it. That was the first thing. That was the first thing I noticed when I came to this school and started competing in the MIAC as a track athlete. Just how dumb.
It's all over the
names are.
Midwest. I think
Really?
Stevens Point.
They're the Pointers.
They're the Pointers. Yeah. Eau Claire Blue Golds.
Yeah, that's weird.
That's
They're just
so
that's
weird.
just their logo. I mean, yeah, there's some weird names.
Yeah.
But St. Mary's Cardinals. I like our little angry cardinal. Got it on the back of my jacket. This is my track jacket. It's a little gaudy, but I don't mind. 507-457-1615 is the phone number. We've been talking a lot of St. Mary's sports. We had a nice blend of college football. You're still watching the.
It's coming up.
You're
right
watching
now,
the show.
Right now.
We're both kind of. If you're watching the stream, if you're wondering why we're both looking that direction, it's because his laptop has.
We're about to see UCF get in the
It's the
playoffs.
college football. Well, actually, does the rankings come out right at 11, or does the show start at 11?
I think the rankings. They said the rankings are going to come out like.
Oh wait, this is fantasy football now. Oh no. We're okay. Okay, let's get back to the squeeze. 507-457-1615. 16-second squeeze. It's 11 o'clock. We have an hour down. We have an hour still to come, and yet to have one single contestant. 507-457-16.
Hey, 7 listeners.
This is good. We're doing well as thousands listening
Someone needs a call.
on the
Come
radio
on,
frequency. 507-457-1615. I talked about it earlier. I did a nice little news writing story on Coach Fano. I'm
Is
probably
that for the
for the profile story.
Really?
Yeah, you probably got 100 on that, didn't you?
98?
98. Okay, I didn't. I
What'd you
think I got a 80.
Not bad.
Yeah, so I didn't do too well, but it's okay. I think I got a lot of info from Coach Fano, and I want to share it with you guys. So, Coach Fano's a great guy. He's from Chicago. He went to my high school. Like I haven't mentioned it 1,000 times before. He graduated from my high school in 1995. He was on the basketball team his senior year. Corey Maggette. I don't know if Corey Maggette rings a bell.
Last name kind of sounds.
Yeah, he was an NBA player, and he went to my high school. So he played on Corey Maggette's team. Fano was a senior. Maggette was a freshman, so that was probably pretty cool. Maggette was one of the best players to come out of the Chicago Catholic League ever. And he talked about how that was fun and just the excitement in the gym every time Corey Maggette took to the court. But he graduated. He out of Fenwick, he was going to come to St. Mary's, actually. That's why he was so excited when this job opened up, because he loved it here, but things just didn't work out, and he didn't end up going to college right out of high school. He got his degree in sports management more recently, in the past 10 years at DePaul University. He knew he always wanted to coach, but he also knew that taking the next step and becoming a collegiate coach meant that he had to get the sports management degree. He had to get that gosh darn piece of paper that we're all here for to coach on the collegiate level. And then from there, he began assistant coaching at Benedictine University. He was on multiple Final Four teams there. Division III, very good team. North Park on the assistant coaching staff that helped bring North Park from a sub 500 team to a well beyond 500.
They're good
team.
in a lot of sports, actually.
Yeah, North Park University is quite the school. And then he saw that this job opened up on a coach kind of recruiting website, believe it or not. They have those coach recruiting websites. And he applied, and he was just super excited. The hire was actually pretty late into the season, so he was behind. And he said that the first thing he realized was just how long the collegiate basketball season is compared to high school. Because, as an assistant coach, you only have to focus on basketball. That's all you have to do. Or maybe you just have to focus on recruiting. But as the head coach, you have to do it all. You have to do recruiting. You have to order the buses. You have to order the food. You have to schedule the games. You have to do so much more. And he didn't, it's kind of like Coach Nagy as the Bears head coach. He went from being a real estate agent to an assistant coach, which is crazy, and then a head coach. He's never been a head coach anywhere before, and I was the head coach of the Bears. It's kind of like Fano, except we're not the Bears.
We're not the best team in the NFL.
Oh my God. I never said in the NFL. In the NFC, maybe. Rams and Saints have some chinks in the armor. But I digress. something surprising that I don't think you're going to see coming unless you read my story. Coach Fano grew up in the 90s in Chicago. Who was his favorite player in the NBA?
Jordan?
Yeah, you would think. No, Larry Bird. Larry Bird.
Oh.
He said the reason that Larry Bird is his favorite player is because he always wanted to be different. He didn't want to go with the crowd. And that's kind of how he coaches. I mean, I've never seen a coach in my lifetime, very long lifetime, that doesn't get angry at his players for shooting bad shots. It just goes against conventional wisdom. But that's the direction in which basketball is headed. Take threes, take threes, take threes. Threes are more than two. Simple math. So take more threes and you'll end up winning some games. So he's just a very different guy. He even said that in the GOAT conversation, I asked him who's the GOAT. He said Larry Bird. So I don't know. Maybe he's a little biased because he's his favorite player. I don't really know about that one. I still think LeBron's the GOAT. Yeah. But actually, LeBron is not helping my case in that situation or in that argument this season. He's not doing too well as the best player on the Los Angeles Lakers. But Coach Fano, very interesting guy. You've heard Sawyer Rosner and Brady Stevens in here each to talk about him. They both enjoy his coaching style. He's very intense, and he said, Coach Fano said that he needs to work on patience. You know, he has to understand that we are seeing the development. Yeah. We saw this team go 1-24 last season, and we see this team competitive in the MIAC. I mean, since we've been at St. Mary's, we haven't seen a Cardinals basketball team, male basketball team, win a MIAC game. Yeah. And they've come close 2 games in a row. That's awesome to us.
Against 2 teams that are projected to make the playoffs.
Yeah, but Coach Fano sees that as, oh my gosh, we're 3-3. We stink. This is not enough, because he wants to win. So he said that he has to work on that patience and understand that these guys don't know how to win. They didn't have a great system last year, and it's just one step at a time. So he says he needs to work on patience. I think that's a very wise statement when I asked him what he wanted to work on. And again, Coach Fano, great guy. I spent close to half an hour talking to him, and it's just, I hope we can have him here one day, because he's got stories. He's got a nice Chicago accent, and he's a cool guy to talk to. So I'm happy that he's having success and that this team is doing well. Again, we say it every week. They're doing well, and that's all I asked. All I wanted was competitive basketball week in and week out.
I think they might be favored Wednesday, to be honest with you. Concordia's not good. They just lost to Hamlin, so Concordia.
Wow.
I think.
And Hamlin lost to Crown.
So watch out. Wednesday, we're going to get it.
And St. Olaf, maybe going into St. Olaf's gym. That gym is crazy. I don't know if you've ever been there. It's like an arena. It's really nice. But heading into there, I don't think that we can ask them to win that game. That's just going to be tough. But going to Carleton, you proved that you can beat them yesterday. So go into Carleton and beat them. And then sweep Concordia, sweep Hamlin, sweep Gustavus. All 3 possibilities, and then you're in the MIAC playoffs. Win one game here or there against St. Thomas or St. John's, who are nationally ranked, but just win one of those 4 games, and again, there you go. You're in the playoffs. Go. Let's up the expectations to mirror the Bears again. Last year, I said that the Bears were going to win 10 games, and that was before the Khalil Mack trade. And then the Khalil Mack trade happened, and now I'm saying, okay, Bears for Super Bowl. That's just how it works. The Cardinals are the same thing. Last year, or even at the beginning of this season, I was saying just be competitive. And now I see how good Eli Cave has become. I see how awesome Kevin Gleason is. And I see how great this coach is. And I'm asking this team to go from being the worst team, undeniably, in the MIAC, to being competitive, to winning some, making the playoffs. Make the playoffs for us, guys. And we're going to talk to Eli Cave in less than half an hour now. And I think I might say that to him. I'm going to work up the strength to say, make the playoffs, gosh darn it.
You might agree. He has high expectations.
I think he does. And he gets discouraged on the court when his teammates make bad decisions, because he wants the best for him and he wants the best for the team. And I think that's a good quality, to get angry at your teammates, to be able to do that and still, not let it bog you down. So you need to let your teammate know dude, that's not how we do it here. You can't do that here. But then you have to, work with him still, and you have to let him fix his mistake. You can't just not give him the ball anymore because he turned the ball over,
Yeah.
And I think Eli Cave has that good leadership quality. 507-457-1615. I mean, my T-shirt supplies are dwindling, so I'm not opposed to not giving away a T-shirt today. 507-457-1615. It would be great if we could give one away because, I kind of promised it on Twitter and Instagram and Snapchat. But 507-457-1615 is the phone number. No one's going to call.
I believe. There's
I believe.
70.
I know. We've had so many people this whole show. I mean, and the thousands of people listening on the radio frequency in their cars. Why aren't you calling in? 507
Thousands.
millions. I don't. Well, there's only 25,000 people in Winona, so that means we have 23,000 listening.
Oh,
yeah. 507-457-1615. We're gonna take a quick break here. Have the rankings come out yet?
I think they're coming out like at 11:20.
Okay. Is there a clock? Is there a countdown? Because
they're going to each college and interviewing. And
see, I knew you were a little gullible when you thought that it was going to come out directly at 11.
I'm anxious.
I know that they have to squeeze every bit of content
That's
out of
ESPN.
this. Yeah, ESPN. 507-457-1615. We're going to take it to break. Hello, you're on the squeeze. What's up? What's your name? Where are you from?
Scott from Elmwood Park.
Hey, Scott from Elmwood Park. You're our first caller today. What are you calling in for? Are you calling in for a 16-second squeeze or to, give an opinion?
16-second squeeze.
16-second squeeze. Okay, so we're doing this a little bit differently than normal, so bear with me as technology has failed us. Scott, you have, or would you like Christina or Anthony? Who would you like to go up against?
I'll go up against Anthony.
Okay, Anthony, I've heard he's very bright. So Anthony had 16 seconds to name as many pizza flavors as pizza flavors. Oh my gosh. Pizza toppings, as many pizza toppings as he could. Pizza toppings in 3, 2, 1, go.
Sausage, pineapple, cream pepper, pepperoni, Hawaiian, pineapple. Did I say pineapple? I think I said pineapple.
You said pineapple. That's 4. That's 4. Thank you so much for calling, Scott from Elmwood Park. 4. I don't know. Anthony seems like a smart dude, so maybe he'll have more pizza. I've heard he doesn't really. I've heard he doesn't really like pizza though, so we'll see what happens. Thanks for calling, Scott from Elmwood Park.
All right, talk to you.
Okay, there we go. Oh, I turned off the room speakers. There we go. So that was 4. 4 from Scott, right? Pizza toppings 4.
Yep.
Let's see how many pizza. I just almost said flavors again. Pizza toppings Anthony could think of in 16 seconds. 3, 2, 1.
Sausage, pepperoni, peppers, olives, anchovies, buffalo chicken, banana, pineapple,
Banana.
cheese,
Are you giving me banana?
Yeah, I
You're
think
going to
it
give me
would.
banana? Okay, that's fine.
No.
Yeah, I don't think
so.
banana-
Banana pepper.
I don't think. Ooh, banana pepper.
But you did just
That's good. So how many did Anthony get?
8.
8. Okay, so Scott is at a -4, starting off strong. 16-second squeeze. 507, 457, 1615. Well, we were gone for 2 weeks, and the first week was because I surprised my girlfriend with a kitten, a little cute kitten named Luna, and she's awesome and she's doing fine. But the second week we missed because of Thanksgiving break, which got me thinking, what are the best holidays? So Alec and I are going to take place in a little holiday draft. Alec has done, he's made a draft board. I'm just going to do it off the top of my head. So we're going to do a 4-round holiday draft, and then we're going to debate who has the better team. Sounds good?
Oh yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, sounds good. So we're going to flip a coin right here. Heads, I get the first pick in the first round. Tails, you get the first pick in the first round. Sounds good?
I thought you're gonna pull a trick on me. Heads, you get it. Heads, you tails, I don't get it.
Here we go. And tails. So
Let's go.
Alec Rude with the first pick in the first round of the Squeeze Holiday Draft. What are you picking?
With the first overall selection, I would like to take Christmas.
Christmas. That's a good one. That's not exactly. That might be the Saquon Barkley of the draft.
Christmas / Alec's birthday. Alec's birthday is 2 days before, so
Okay, so there's even some added. But I've heard that I don't have a Christmas birthday, but I've heard that Christmas birthdays can kind of stink.
no, I love them.
But so does your family give you a birthday present and a Christmas present?
Oh yeah,
Okay, I've heard that a lot of people
they
get.
better.
I mean, yeah, you would think, but I've heard a lot of people don't get that. A lot of people just get the
I
Christmas
both.
present.
I get both.
Okay, so Alec Rude loves that time of year. He gets double the presents as everybody else. So Christmas, very, very strong pick. Now I'm trying to think.
We're doing the snake draft.
Yeah, snake draft. So I'll have the first pick, and I get 2 picks in a row now. So I think we have to go, because I get back to back, I'm going to go Thanksgiving, because who doesn't love a good Thanksgiving? Some would argue 507, 457, 1615. I know some people out there argue that Thanksgiving is actually better than Christmas.
I've heard that too.
Yeah, I don't think I agree, but I'm happy with my pick. And then for the first pick in the second round, I'm thinking either New Year. Why am I telling you? No, I'm going to go with Halloween. Halloween is my first pick in the second round.
That's a bad selection.
Bad selection? Who doesn't like Halloween? Free candy?
Okay, are we doing this from our age now or when we were younger?
No. That's a good question. I think it's just public opinion. That's what we're going to base it off of. Maybe we'll throw this on the Squeeze Twitter and ask a poll who won the Squeeze draft.
Halloween. I don't even know. That would have been in my top 8 right now.
Really?
I
Halloween's fun. I mean, even if you're not little, it's less fun when you're an adult, but you get to go have.
Okay, maybe
Party.
maybe this year's on a Wednesday.
It was on a Wednesday. It was a bummer, but some people use that Wednesday to have a Friday Halloween party before Halloween and a Friday Halloween party after
True,
Halloween.
true.
So some people would say it's even better. What's your second pick in the second round?
Easter.
Easter. Again, you're just going all Christian on us, aren't you?
Oh, I'm very religious.
All Catholic over there. I got the pagan holiday and the pilgrim holiday, and then you got the 2 Catholic
And I'm
holidays.
down my third round. I will take 4th of July.
Gosh darn it! You know what? I should have taken 4th of July for my second pick the first pick in the second round, because 4th of July is a sneaky number one. It's like the Mitch Trubisky in this draft. It's a sneaky best pick in the draft, I think. No, 4th of July is, I mean, you can't beat it. You get parades in the morning, you get food all day, hot dogs, burgers, watermelon. I mean, just awesomeness. And then you finish it out with fireworks. Who doesn't like fireworks? Kind of hard to beat. I should have picked 4th of July. I feel like I'm arguing for your picks more than you're arguing for your picks.
I'm just waiting and watching you mess up.
Yeah,
You already did in the second round.
Oh gosh, now I can't even really think of 2 more holidays. So I get the last 2 holidays in a row,
Which then I get another.
and then you get the last one. So I don't know. There's Eli. So third pick. Let me think. This is bad radio right now. I think I'm gonna go Labor Day, because Labor Day is in the same vein as 4th of July. It's a summer holiday. You know, there's no, or is it Labor Day or no, Memorial Day? Sorry.
I was like, what?
Wrong. I did not prepare for this draft whatsoever. Memorial Day is my holiday because it's a summer holiday. You get the whole weekend off, hot dogs, burgers, fireworks. It's basically a poor man's 4th of July. So Memorial Day is my third pick, first pick in the third round, and your second pick in the third round, and my first pick in the 4th round to round out the squeeze holiday draft. I gotta go with New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve? Oh, I guess that's
New Year's Eve is the better of the two. New Year's
I
Day.
don't even know why I said that.
Yeah. So New Year's Eve. I think that's a pretty good draft. I don't know. Okay. What's your last pick in the draft?
I'll say Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day. Yeah. You know what? That's a pretty good one. That's another one that, I don't know. I feel like it peaks in grade school when you get all your little Valentine cards. It peaks in grade school, then it kind of
And it gets back up.
until you get like a serious romantic partner, or like when you're married, and then I feel like it probably gets better again, and then it goes down like later in life because you don't care anymore. So it's a very ebb and flow holiday, but it's a pretty good pick. So Alec, give us your opening day roster for holiday. Ooh, Scott Pasquazi in the chat. Birthday. I don't know if birthday is necessarily a holiday. You kind of went in that vein, but what did you pick?
Christmas, Easter, 4th of July, Valentine's Day.
That's quality.
Yeah,
I think you might win this week.
I do too.
Yeah, I think drafts are kind of fun. We should do a draft every week.
Toss.
Now, Anthony, that's me. That's me, third person. Thanksgiving, arguably the best holiday, some would say. Halloween, Memorial Day, not Labor Day, Memorial Day, and New Year's Eve. They're kind of, it's literally Halloween and Thanksgiving are primary holidays. So that's good. That's fine. But then I get the Memorial Day, which is the poor man 4th of July, which you picked. And then I pick New Year's Eve, which is the poor man's Christmas, which you picked. So I think you probably won the
We
draft.
should do drafts with like actual sports and everything. That'd be fun.
No, why would we talk about sports on a sports radio show? I don't know. That's blasphemy. I don't understand why you
Like
think
a
we should
play,
do that.
like college football playoff. Pick some teams that we think are gonna win. Do a little betting.
No,
Not money
not
betting.
betting.
Not money
you can't-
betting.
You can't bet money.
I said not money.
Okay, we're both athletes, dude. You can't. I don't want to lose my eligibility.
Ineligible.
I don't want to do that. Okay, so Eli is going to come on the radio after the break. Eli Cave, we've been talking about him all day. If he has been listening, then he's probably been blushing the whole time. But let's move on to the next game up. I'm going to talk about the basketball teams next game up, and then Alec is going to let you know the hockey teams and tell you about that. Women's basketball plays Concordia on the 5th. Concordia is 3-2. They're 1-0 in conference. And they have a plus 33-point differential. They're 8th in the MIAC in scoring, and their scoring leader is Myra Ellefson with 14.2 points per game. And then men's basketball also plays Concordia. A little bit different, though. The men's team is 1-4. They're 0-1 in the MIAC. They have a negative 37-point differential, and they're 8th in the MIAC in scoring as well. Bryden Uri is the scoring leader with 11.4 points per game. We've been saying it every MIAC game so far. This is the one. This is the first MIAC victory for this men's team. I can feel it, and I think Eli is probably going to agree with me. But the hockey teams, what's up next for the hockey teams, Alec?
Men's hockey, Friday and Saturday play Wisconsin Superior. Wisconsin Superior, I think they're a decent team. I do not have their record pulled up. I apologize for that.
You can
but
quote that. I think they're.
I think they're decent. Oh, here we go. They're 3-7-2. They're not decent.
That
But-
should be good then. I mean, keep it rolling. Keep it rolling.
Well, they tied Lake Forest, who St. Mary's lost to, and then they lost to Augsburg 3-1, who we barely lost to. So I think it'll be good games. It'll be competitive. But that's December 7th, December 8th, and then they have over a month off until January 11th. Why did I just click women's soccer? That season's done with.
We're both having technical difficulties today.
Then women's hockey plays Stevens Point. That's at home December 8th before being off for almost a month again till January. So after this weekend, both hockey teams are off until at least January 4th.
Okay, there we go. 507-457-1615 is the phone number. We still have one T-shirt to give away. 2 more callers to go. Scott led us off with a -4, so it's still pretty possible that we have a different T-shirt winner today. 507-457-1615 is the phone number. You are listening to The Squeeze. Stay tuned, and thank you for listening. You are listening to The Squeeze with Anthony Pasquazi, produced by Alec Root on KSMR Radio, broadcasting live on 92.5 FM on campus and 94.3 FM in Winona, Minnesota, as well as online at smumn.edu/KSMR. KSMR, Real College Radio. This is Eli Cave, arguably the best player on the men's basketball team, although I'm sure he will be humble about it. In my mind, he's the best player on the team. Another student in our sport management class. So all 4 of the people in studio today have been in our
Very original.
sport management class. Yeah, we've really, spread the fingers out, the feelers out to try to find our guests. No, thank you so much for coming on, Eli.
Of course.
You're undeniably having a breakout season this year. Your freshman year, you only averaged 7 points per game. Last year, you were out with the injury. But this year, 21.2 points per game. What has changed between your freshman season and this year?
The biggest thing that's changed for me is my mindset going into every game. As a freshman, I was behind a lot of good players. So I kind of deferred to them and let them do what they needed to do. And this year, we have a really equal team. So I decided that at the beginning of the year that I'm going to make it my goal to try to lead the team in everything. And then I guess that just translates to games.
It's been working. You've literally been leading the team in almost every statistical category: points, rebounds, assists. You're all over the minutes. I mean, you're all over the place.
Yeah, but that sounded bad. I'm gonna actually say like my teammates obviously are doing a really good job. It's
No,
not- yeah,
of course, of course. No, we know.
Okay,
It's a team
yeah,
effort.
yeah,
I know you're a humble guy.
yeah,
You were just saying you want to be a leader
Yeah.
on the team, and you're also leading in
yeah,
some
exactly,
categories.
yeah.
But last season, now I don't really know anything about your injury. So you sat out all year last year. Do you mind telling me how it happened and maybe like the whole story?
Yeah. So I was playing in a tournament in Wisconsin Dells in July. I was playing with St. Mary's, and I went up to dunk. And when I landed, my leg was straight, and someone hit the outside of my knee, and I tore my meniscus, my MCL, my ACL, and I fractured my femur.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, tough.
Yeah. And I mean, how long was that road back?
So I got surgery right after. Luckily, my dad knew a doctor, so we got right in for surgery. And then I came back fully healthy. I would say fully healthy, I got back in like June, so almost a whole year.
Wow.
But I started playing again in like April, but I wasn't like back to where I was before.
I mean, yeah, all last year you weren't
Yeah.
on crutches. You
Yeah.
you were barely in a cast. I saw you on the court all the time.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I mean, torn meniscus, ACL, MCL, and a fracture. Holy cow. I mean,
Yeah.
dude, props to you. That is
Thank you.
that is honestly incredible, the fact that you got back so quick and now you're excelling. So congrats to you and
Thank you.
and thank God, I guess, because
Yeah,
that's
for
that
real.
really is awesome. So you're a big reason why this team is playing better this season. You're not the only reason, but you're a big one. Another big reason is because of your new coach, Joe Fano. Tell me some things, good or bad, about Coach Fano.
I have nothing negative to say about Coach Fano. He brought a lot of intensity into practice, and he's a really good in-game coach, and he makes adjustments based on the other team. Every game this year, he's had us prepared to go into the game. But that's not just Coach Fano, it's Coach Brown too, doing all the scouting reports. Coach Fano pushes all of us equally, and I guess he plays off the strengths of each individual player. So he's good at like utilizing every player and putting them in a position to do what he needs to do.
Yeah, I mean, he sounds like a great all-around coach in every facet of the game.
Yeah, he is.
So the last two games that you guys have done, I've been sitting right there on the sidelines, which has been awesome for me. I've really enjoyed doing it, and I've gotten to hear him actually coach. And it is a whole different world when you're behind Coach Fano and you can hear everything he's saying. He's a very intense guy. He yells at the refs. He's on your side all the time. But he can get angry at you guys.
Yeah.
Do you like that? Do you like his intensity? And do you like that he pushes you guys so hard?
I'm not gonna lie. We've had a lot of one-on-one meetings about it. Like me personally and him, how he should coach me, how he should coach other guys. But I think like his intensity and his yelling is just showing like how bad he wants to win and how bad he wants us to have success, because he knows that we were 1-24 last year, but we're not that bad.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, so he knows that, and he wants just to get the best out of us. But in practice, he's not like that fully. He caters to every person, like every individual's needs on how they want to be coached.
Again, I mean, he sounds like an awesome guy. I talked to him for half an hour for an assignment that I had, and I got to know him not as a basketball coach, but as a person. And I would agree, he's just a really great guy.
Yeah.
And so you had coached Russ Stoven
Mm-hmm.
last year. You weren't on the team, and then you were on the team, but you weren't
Yeah.
able to play. And then the first year, what are the differences between these two coaches in your eyes?
The difference is the intensity for sure. Of course, I came here because of Coach Rustoven, so I'm not going to – yeah, he was a great coach, but his practices were, I guess, way easier and way less intense, where it was almost like we would just go in, get shots up, and then we wouldn't be as prepared for the game. But with Fano, we're like locked in the whole practice, and if you're not locked in, you're going to run. And it's called a Big 10, where you got to do 10 touches in 1 minute. And
Cool.
so, yeah, the intensity is there just because we do not want to run.
Yeah, we talked to Sawyer on the show. We talked to Brady on the show. I talk to the freshmen all the time, and that's what everyone says. They're like, we don't like it because he makes us run.
Yeah. But I guess that running is motivation for us not to lose focus or not to have a lapse in practice. And then honestly, in games we've been having a lot of, I guess, like 3-4 minutes of playing really poorly, and that's what's costing us some games. So once we get that figured out, we should be really, really good.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it, and I think we agree that you guys you're not as bad as that,
Yeah.
and you're also not playing up to par with what we think you guys can be. You're 3-3, you're 0-2 in the MIAC. Both games were winnable, and I know you know that, and I know you're probably not happy about it.
Yeah, I'm not happy at all.
What can we expect you guys to do in terms of maybe making the playoffs this year, or maybe just going above 500? What do you think is going to happen?
So our team goal outside of conference was going to conference play 3-1. And then a realistic goal for us was starting in conference 3-1. But we lost the first two, obviously. So now we have to win these next two. And then I think that as we grow as a team and build our relationships with Coach Fano, that we can for sure compete for the playoffs. Because I think we're right on the edge of the playoffs right now. So we just have to win games. And I mean, we're young, so we're going to lose games that we're not supposed to lose, or that we're not supposed to lose, but then we're going to probably beat some teams that we're not supposed to beat.
Absolutely. And last year, you guys were missing yourself, and also the freshmen weren't the tallest. I mean, you had Jacob Bailey and you had Sawyer Rosner. But now you have you're 6'7", Jacob Bailey 6'7", Jacob Chilson 6'6", Caden Freetley 6'6". You guys you're competing on the height level, and I think it's making a big difference. What can you say about Jacob Chilson's game yesterday? He kind of had a breakout game.
Yeah, he really did. He's someone that when he plays hard and he doesn't think about the game, he's one of the most talented players on the team. So yesterday, yeah, I actually heard earlier you talking about him guarding the big guy on their team, and I was really impressed that he was not getting bullied by him, because I think a lot of people would. He was huge,
Massive.
But yeah, he had a few good games, and I know he's only gonna grow because he's so talented. So as he gets older and smarter and bigger, he's gonna be a problem.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you're only a sophomore, which is it's a good thing about getting injured. Last year I was a freshman in track, and I had a little health issue, so I didn't use my eligibility either. So I'm I'm still a freshman.
Yeah.
It's a good feeling that you
Yeah.
get to grow with this very young team, and you are still one of those young guys.
Yeah.
It's got to feel awesome. Now I kind of have a question that I don't know, a lot of people ask athletes. What is the difference in the locker room after a win and after a loss? Is it even keel, or is it totally different?
It's totally different for sure.
Okay.
A lot of times Coach Fano will come in after a win, and first thing he says is congratulations on the win, and then everyone gets hyped. The Crown win, our first win, was huge because it was a close game. They're a good team, and last year we would not have won that game. So that was crazy. And then after a loss like yesterday, dead silence. Everyone's not putting their head down, but just looking and like we should have won that game, disappointed. And then there's one or two guys that will, I guess, talk to the team about keeping them up, and then Coach Fano will come in. So, and a big difference is after a win, there will be music played in the locker room, but there will not be after a loss.
Yeah, and that's understandable.
Yeah, for sure.
So, Eli, again, thank you so much for sitting in with us. Who's your 4 seed in the college football playoff?
Did Oklahoma win yesterday?
They did.
I got Oklahoma.
Oklahoma, okay. Yeah.
You want to say it?
Alec and I. Oh, wait, it came out?
It just did.
Okay, yeah, let us know.
Oklahoma is the 4 seed. So
No.
Alabama 1, Clemson 2, Notre Dame 3, Oklahoma 4.
Wow. Well, Alec and I both thought Georgia deserved the 4th spot, but yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I just like Kyler Murray, so
That's
Yeah,
gonna be fun.
he's
That's gonna be a
awesome.
fun game.
Did you actually hear that he had decided to be a baseball player, but now he's having second thoughts about it?
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, what do you think about that?
I hope he plays football.
Really?
I enjoy watching him play football. So
Yeah, I mean, he's awesome at both. So thank you so much for sitting in with us. We're going to take it to break here. 507-457-1615 is the phone number. We still have 2 more 16-second squeeze contestants to go. Scott's the only one at a -4. 507-457-1615. Thanks for listening, and stay tuned. You are listening to The Squeeze with Anthony Pasquazi on KSMR Radio, produced by Alec Rude, broadcasting live on 92.5 FM on campus, and translator K232CZ 94.3 FM in Winona, Minnesota, as well as online at smumn.edu/KSMR. KSMR, Real College Radio. Christina from Chicago, you're on the air.
Hello.
Whoa, you're loud. Sounds like you're on the L. Sounds like you're on the L, maybe. Are you on the L in Chicago?
No, I'm not. I have my Bluetooth in my headphones. So maybe that's why.
Okay, sounds good. Well, Christina, you are going to go against Christina.
Oh, lovely.
So Christina had 16 seconds to name as many board games as she could. Board games in 16 seconds. 3, 2, 1, go.
Scrabble, Monopoly, Sorry or Yahtzee or something. Connect 4. Wow, this is hard. Even though I've done this.
Okay, that's it.
I can't think of it anymore.
That's 5. What do you mean you've done it? It's just some other person named Christina. I don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
So Yahtzee and Sorry, that was good. You thought maybe that was the same game, but those are 2 different games. So nice job there, Christina.
Great.
From Chicago. Have a great one, and let's hear how Christina did.
It's be interesting to see.
Totally different people. Totally different. Not the same person at all. Here we go. Christina had 16 seconds to name as many. Well, how many did Christina have?
5.
5. Let's see how Christina did.
Okay, Monopoly. Connect 4. Shoots and Ladders. Clueless or Clue. Ooh, this is hard.
4.
Yeah.
So there we go. Christina beat Christina. Both Christinas said, whoa, this is hard at the end of it, which is hilarious because, I mean, they're totally 2 different people. So what are the odds of them both saying that? 507-457-1615. Christina just took the lead with a +1. So congratulations, Christina. As of right now, you are the winner of the Squeeze t-shirt. 507-457-1615 is the phone number. We have room for one more. 16-second squeeze caller. Now, before we get to the top 4 playoffs, we have this thing that we do every week. It's our, NFL picks. So we kind of have to do that because we are surprisingly running out of time here. It's already 11:45. Holy cow, that's crazy. This show has been flying by. So let's catch everybody up to speed. Claire and Teresa are in last place with a 26-30 record. Alec is in second place with a 35-21 record. And I am in first place, as I have been the whole year, at 37-19. Of course, Alec made up 2 games last week, which is great for him. I mean, you had a quality week last week, and this week we have 4 different picks. Wow, that word was escaping my brain. 4 different picks. So this could be the week that Alec finally takes the lead over myself. Let's listen in on what Claire and Teresa had to say about their picks this week.
Bears at Giants.
Bears because Chicago.
Where are the Giants from?
New York.
For some reason, I thought they were also from Chicago.
Chargers
Yeah.
at Steelers.
Steelers is like, this sounds mean, like you're stealing something, like swipe or no swiping.
Okay, yeah, we can do the
Chargers.
Chargers. Chargers sounds dumb too. I think it's a loss situation.
You want to go for a tie again?
No, we did not do
No,
that time.
Chargers.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Vikings at Patriots.
Patriots, Tom Brady.
Yes.
Cardinals at Packers.
I'm a Packers fan, but like a little cards.
I feel like we'll. Do we switch it up and pick Packers this time? Because before we've been very loyal to the Cardinals.
Okay, let's pick the Cardinals.
Okay.
Yeah, Cardinals.
Colts at Jaguars.
Oh, the Jaguars
yeah,
off the
the
car, obviously.
Rams at Lions.
A ram would get eaten by a lion.
We have 2 animals here.
A lion that would win in a fight.
Rams have very strong horns, though, do they not? Aren't they the ones with the curly
Yes,
horns?
but they're gonna get eaten by a lion.
Okay, fine.
Lions.
2 more animals. Broncos at Bengals.
Oh, Broncos.
Yeah, the Broncos.
I don't know what Bengal is. What is
That's a
that?
tiger.
Still sticking with the Broncos.
Yeah, the Broncos.
Go horses.
And then Ravens at Falcons.
2 birds. Oh my gosh.
So many animals this time. Are we at a zoo? My goodness.
The NFL Zoo sponsor that.
Please.
Let's do the Falcons. They seem stronger.
I've heard a lot of good things about the Falcons from Wild Kratts.
Okay.
So let's do the Falcons.
Okay, so the girls, Claire and Teresa, picked Bears, Chargers, Patriots, Cardinals, Jaguars, Lions, Broncos, and Falcons. Bold picks? I don't know. Bold picks. Alec, how about you?
Just to remember my upset, I have a couple upset picks this week. I think the Giants are going to beat the Bears. I think Chase Daniel's going to have an awful day. And
Just
then
Daniel. If you're going to bash us, get it right.
that's why I don't know him, because no one knows him. I got Chargers over the Steelers. I love Phillip Rivers. I love the Chargers. I have Vikings over the Patriots. I think the Patriots are just not up to their caliber right now, especially when they played the Titans a little bit ago. I've got the I have the Packers beating the Cardinals. I have the Colts beating the Jaguars. I think Andrew Luck will have a big day, hopefully for my fantasy team. I need it big. It's not because I'm sports betting.
No, he's not.
I have the Rams over the Lions, Broncos over the Bengals, and then Ravens over Falcons. I think that's going to be an interesting game, but I will take that. Not an upset record-wise, but maybe might be a little upset just known to some ordinary people.
Falcons at home. So, yeah, I'd call that an upset. Of course, we're not betting against any spreads because that would be way too hard to explain to the girls. So we're not going to do that. I picked the Bears over the Giants. I haven't gone against the Bears so far this year, and they've been 8-3. So I've been pretty fruitful with that. Why go against them now? Yes, it is the second game in a row with a backup quarterback, but the Giants are the Giants. My one worry is that Saquon Barkley has a great day. The Bears do have the 3rd best run defense in the NFL, but Saquon Barkley is one heck of a beast. So that's the one version of this Bears-Giants game that I see ending poorly for the Bears is if Saquon Barkley absolutely goes off for 200 rushing yards, 100 passing or receiving yards and 3 touchdowns. That's the only permutation that I see the Giants actually beating the Bears. So I'm going to go with the Bears. The Bears. I'm picking the Steelers over the Chargers. Although the Chargers are one of the best teams in the AFC, that is a warm weather team heading to Pittsburgh. So I don't know. I don't think that they're going to travel very well. So I picked the Steelers over the Chargers. Patriots over the Vikings. Again, it's a dome team heading to New England against the Patriots, who I still don't think are a great team, but I don't think the Vikings are either. And maybe we're just picking against each other to make each other angry. So I'm just picking the Patriots over the Vikings. Packers over the Cardinals. I think the Packers are absolutely falling apart, but the Cardinals are the Cardinals. Colts over the Jaguars. This is an upset technically because the Jaguars are at home, but the Colts are the better team. Andrew Luck's having a great year. And did you see that tweet on ESPN about their cap room at the end of the season?
No.
They have like $153 million in
Colts?
cap space. That's $80 million more than the next closest
Wow,
team. So
that's sweet.
they're a really good team this year that has a lot of cap room to go nuts this offseason. I'm picking Rams over the Lions. As much as I would love the Lions to beat the Rams as to make the Bears by likelihood a little bit more likely, I don't think it's going to happen. Rams over Lions. Broncos over Bengals. Bengals, their quarterback, just
Jeff Driscoll. is
yeah,
gonna start.
yeah, Jeff Driscoll. That's great. Or is it Driscoll or Triscoll?
Driscoll.
It is Driscoll? Okay. I made fun of you for getting a backup
think
name
it
wrong, and you get make fun. It's okay. Falcons over Ravens. Falcons are at home, and the Ravens are absolutely falling apart. I'm eating my words because at the beginning of the year, if you go back and watch the YouTube live stream, Anthony Pasquazi is the name of the channel, you would hear me say, the Ravens are real. Yeah, the Ravens are real bad. That's what they are. 507-457-1615. We're running out of time for the last 16-second squeeze, but you know what? Christina's loving it. Christina's sitting in her little L car in Chicago saying, I just want another t-shirt because no one else is calling. 507-457-1615 is the phone number. Let's get to the moment we've all been waiting for. Oklahoma in front of Georgia for the college football playoff. I mean, my argument doesn't change just because the college football committee the playoff committee decided to go against what I believe. I still think Georgia's the better team. I think Georgia had the better season. But I guess the thinking is Oklahoma. But see, it's so flawed. If you're saying Oklahoma is in front of Georgia because Georgia lost 2 games, well then UCF should be in the Final Four because UCF didn't lose any game.
Yeah.
So what other? I mean, maybe be devil's advocate. What other argument can you think for Oklahoma other than they have 1 less loss?
That's the thing. There's not much. I think the offense, just watching them, and I think the committee wants to see. They want a show. That's the thing. They want 2 good games that are going to give people a show, and I think Kyler Murray against Alabama's defense is going to give people a show. So again, I think it's more than there might be some politics involved, but you never know.
I guess that's it. But I always like putting things into 2 sides. If you wanted the best team in the nation, or the best 4 teams in the nation, Georgia deserves to be in that little bracket graphic right there. If you want the best records in the nation, which is the only thought that I have for putting Oklahoma against Georgia, then the 8th ranked UCF team should be the 4th best team in the nation if you want to go record. And yeah, there might be another reason, and 507-457-1615 if you disagree and you think there is another hand that I don't have for reasoning why the Oklahoma Sooners should be in the college football playoff, dial us up. 507-457-1615. I don't understand it. I don't like it. And I said it during the break. I hope that Oklahoma gets torched by Alabama. I never root for Alabama ever since I had to shave my head because I bet on Notre Dame in 8th grade in 2014. I've voted against Alabama, but you know what? Because I was made wrong by the college football playoff committee, I hope that Oklahoma gets absolutely torched and I'm restored in my correctness.
I think they made it too. Because they avenged the only loss that they had. So they showed that they can truly beat that team. They lost to them by 3. They weren't home. It was at the Cotton Bowl, so it was a different venue too. And then they shown that they could beat them at another neutral venue as well. So they basically avenged their loss. So that's the thing I would think.
That's a good point. Yeah, I asked you to be devil's advocate, and there you go. You had it. And I can't get over the eyesore that is beating Army by 1 touchdown, beating Texas Tech by 3 points, beating Kansas, but allowing 40 points to Kansas. Not their basketball team, their football team. And they gave up 40 points to Kansas Jayhawks football team.
They went 3-9.
That's an absolute eyesore on their schedule. But just because it's a W, they've only lost 1 game. Yeah, but if you add up all of their W's and you compare it to all of Georgia's W's, I think Georgia has the better resume.
And look at the end of the season. These are the past 5 games. They beat Texas by 12, beat West Virginia by 3, beat Kansas by 15, beat Oklahoma State by 1, beat Texas Tech by 5.
Oklahoma State, thank you for saying that. I forgot about that game. Was it 48-47?
Yeah.
Oklahoma State.
Texas Tech, 51-46.
I just at 507-457-1615. There are a lot of people on Twitter who are defending the Oklahoma Sooners. There's not a lot of people listening who seem to want to defend them, but clearly they're out there. And it's almost bizarre to me. Maybe I'm missing something. I honestly don't see why Oklahoma deserves to be in front of Georgia.
Texas Tech didn't even make a bowl game either, and they beat them by 5 and let up 46 points.
And the Army win by 1 touchdown. I saw you look up Army. They went 9-2 or something, 9-3.
Oklahoma State went 6-6.
My Lord. We got to stop talking about this because it's just making me angry. But there you go. Your college football playoff. Alabama, number 1. Clemson, number 2. Notre Dame, number 3. Those are your 3 unbeatens in the top 4. And then Oklahoma, number 4. As much as I don't like it, that's what it is. So I will say I absolutely love the college football playoff right around my holiday on the draft. It kind of makes my holiday a little
bit, but
it's on New Year's.
Well, the semis are 4 days after Christmas.
Yeah, but it's all around New Year's. So it kind of helps my draft. We're going to put our draft up on the Twitter account. So make sure you go vote there after the show. Who won the holiday, the inaugural holiday squeeze holiday draft? We really got to nail the name down. 507-457-1615 is the phone number. Man, we had so much to talk about today. We just kind of ran out of time, but the holiday draft was great, I think. I think the holiday draft went really well. Thank you so much to Isabel Beteg. You say it.
Beteg.
Okay, Beteg. Yeah, I don't know. It's a hard name for me to say.
I think it's Beteg.
Yeah, thank you so much to Eli Cave. I think that interview was awesome. He was great. What else did we do today? We did our picks. We'll see how Alec does compared to me, and maybe the girls can start making a comeback. They have a few different picks than the two of us. Jaguars over the Colts and Lions over the Rams. Could you imagine if the Lions actually beat the Rams, though?
That'd be crazy.
Yeah, then we should probably start betting.
Kerryon Johnson's out, though. I don't think they have a chance.
Hey, at Ford Field, it could be a letdown game.
The Bears beat them. Doesn't mean you don't think the Rams are better than the Bears.
I don't know. We'll see. The Rams play the Bears in a couple weeks. I think. So maybe the Rams are going to look past this game because they know they're going to win, and they just get caught playing like the Oklahoma Sooners or something. I don't know. Maybe they'll end up losing to the Lions. 507-457-1615 is the phone number. We're really sticking the landing right now, aren't we? It would have been too easy if after our college football conversation it was 12 o'clock noon. What else we got? Oh, this is what else. I want to shout out my little sister if she is listening, Taya Pasquazi. Taya, yeah, very original name, I think. Do you know any Tayas?
A couple.
What?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, never mind, Taya. Sorry.
Like 3, actually.
You're not special. I mean, I'm Anthony and my brother is Ryan, so my parents really went really hard in our name formulation. But Taya, good name. Why am I talking about her? Well, she is a 7th grader and she plays basketball, and she plays basketball really well. I got to see her over Thanksgiving break. I believe her team scored 16 points, and she had 14 of them. And she led the team in rebounds. She led the team probably with the 1 assist. I just made that up. She led the team in blocks. She led the team in steals. She's a stud. Grade school basketball, I know, riveting stuff. But congrats to my little sister. Keep balling out and start working on those handles because you're gonna stop growing. So you're not gonna be a center your whole life. You need to start working on the handles. 507-457-1615. I also want to shout out my team again. We had our first meet this weekend. You guys did great. If anybody's listening, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of myself for finally getting to get back on a runway. Alec, you want to talk about your tennis match before we go?
Yeah, no, I had a tournament this weekend. It's our fundraiser for our team, but no, there was 32 participants in the singles and 24 in the doubles, and I got to the final 8 in both. So I played very well, and I didn't make it to the final 4, but no, I played really well, and I beat a couple people that I didn't think I was going to beat. So it was a good weekend.
There we go. Well, that's just about it, I think. Thank you so much for listening to The Squeeze with Anthony Pasquesi, produced by Alec Rude. Look out for that poll on Twitter of who won the holiday draft. You know what? I might be a dark horse. People might vote for me. You never know. But we'll see about that. Join us next week, Sunday from 10 to noon. We only have 2 more weeks left of this until we get out of here. We might only have 1 more week because you might be leaving, right?
Yeah, I don't have finals Monday or Tuesday,
Yeah. So I won't hold you here. So maybe I'll do an hour show by myself or something like that, and then throw it back to when The Squeeze was just me in this little old studio. 507-457-1615 is the phone number. I don't know why I gave it to you because the show is over. Thank you so much for tuning in, and listen next week.